So today we're going to be going over 10 fragrances you absolutely have to have if you consider yourself an expert. Are there expert fragrance collectors or enthusiasts? I don't know. I don't consider myself one, and the reason why is because I still have so much to learn and so many new things to smell. I've got a lot of stuff. I've smelled many more than I even have behind me here, and a lot of which is on the floor as well. But there's still so much out there, so many different styles and types of variety of different things that I haven't even explored yet. So, I'm far from it, but I think you do reach a point where you have a lot of stuff in your collection and people in kind of outside of the community kind of look at you and go, you know what, you're probably an expert. You probably know everything about fragrances, and there are certain things that people are going to expect you to have, and that's all of the basic stuff like 1 million and Sauvage and stuff. But in the community, there's going to be some things that are a little bit more specific that people would probably expect you to have if you have been collecting for a long time, and that's what we're going to be going over today. Now, I do have a mailing list you can sign up to if you're wanting to continue to add to your fragrance collection and you want to save as much money while doing so. You can hit that first link down below and sign up. It's completely free to sign up. And anytime something rare, hard to find, discontinued comes into stock, I send an email out. Most notably, just yesterday or a couple days ago, Blue Electrique came back into stock. It always sells really quick when that email goes out, but about 20 or so of you guys were able to get a bottle of yourself before it was gone, and there weren't very many. So just getting on the list gives you opportunities to be able to get stuff like that. Anytime a good deal in general comes up, I send an email out, so make sure you take advantage of that. Now let's get things kicked off with SPICEBOMB Extreme. You got to have a bottle of this one in your collection. Whether you're first starting out, it would be a great one to dive into for wintertime, or if you've been collecting for 3 or 4 years now and you just haven't gotten around to getting a bottle of this yet, it is still worth it right now in 2023, in my opinion. And you still have a little bit of time left, depending on where you're at here in the world, I guess. Maybe not. But if you're here in the US and you're in a colder region right now, then you have a little bit more time to pull this one off here before it warms up too much. It's all about the tobacco and vanilla and the black pepper and that sort of thing. Smells great. It's that SPICEBOMB DNA, but more mature, more refined, and more grown up. It's a complete beauty of a scent. Let's keep it moving with Mercedes-Benz Club Black. So to me, you gotta have this one around. Another one focusing on vanilla, but this is absent of the tobacco and pepper like in SPICEBOMB Extreme, and instead basically pivots all of the focus on the vanilla and the benzoin. Okay, so vanilla overload right here. And this is the type of thing where you have to really enjoy scents like this to obviously like it. You know, it's so heavy on the vanilla and pretty much nothing else that you got to make sure you know what you're getting into here. And so I guess if you don't like this type of thing, even if you're at the expert level, so to speak, then it wouldn't really make sense to have it. But I think a lot of guys out there who are looking for a real nice, realistic vanilla scent should highly consider having this one, especially when you can usually get it for around the mid $50, $60 range. Great bang for your buck. Next up, we have Gucci Intense Oud. So this is a designer brand that has always done a really good job of innovating and putting out things that maybe go against the grain in one way or another. A lot of their best fragrances have been discontinued over the years, as you guys are fully aware of. Gucci Envy and Rush and Pour Homme 1 and 2, right? It's very unfortunate that those have been discontinued, but in one way or another, a lot of those releases kind of push the boundaries a little bit. Gucci Guilty Absolute, another one that's very leathery, very woody. That one is strong and also has been discontinued because it's just the type of thing that doesn't sell well, but they still put it out, which I think is awesome. This is another one that kind of is pushing the boundaries a little bit. It has ouds, there's some incense in here. Kind of smells like a designer version of Nasomato Black Afghano. I have that stuff, I love it. It is definitely to the extreme, and it's a true niche fragrance. I'm sure most of you guys have probably smelled it by now, but if you haven't, it's one you should check out. Or you could go for this. It's a little bit more stripped back, a little bit more wearable, and in terms of price per mil, this is a lot more affordable as well. Next up, Prada Luna Rossa Black. Man, I love this stuff. Now, really, it's all about the tonka bean and the amber. That's basically what it is. Very powdery, very dusty. not going to be for people who aren't into that sort of thing. So again, going back to it, you know, these choices are going to vary person to person, but I think a lot of guys who are really heavily invested into this hobby at one point or another are going to run across this and have it at some point or sample it at some point. Whether you end up liking it or not is going to just depend on what you're into. But I think, you know, you do get to that level where it's like, all right, I want to start branching out and trying new things. And you often see this one hyped up, and so you go for it. I hope those of you who check this one out really end up liking it. But if you don't, that also makes sense as well. It's not weird to not like this one, because this is a little bit more out of the ordinary, so to speak, because of just how dusty and powdery it is, especially for a scent that's marketed for men. Next up, we actually have a new release this year, 2023. Already hit discounters, which is pretty nice, and so you can get it for below retail. And I don't even know if this is officially, I think it is actually at retailers now, but there was a point where this hit discounters like maybe even before it hit retailers, or pretty close here in the US. But it's Hugo Boss The Scent Magnetic. So this one has an interesting note breakdown, kind of. I mean, there's only 3. One of them is obvious, Maninka fruit. Gotta have it. It is a signature to the scent line. But then you get bran, okay? And then black vanilla husk, or just vanilla. You know, they're trying to fancy it up there. But so it kind of has this wheat smell to it almost, this different texture coming from that bran accord. The vanilla in here is kind of a creamy, silky vanilla, almost a slight bit of a boozy richness to it, and that Maninka fruit is very distinct. You can pick up on it right away. It doesn't hide anywhere. In fact, this whole line, it's very easy to pick up on that note, and that's what makes it so distinct, and that's what makes these overall just so unique in general. Anymore, the scent line is kind of getting a little bit strange. The Scent Intense, I believe, has been discontinued. Private Accord, same deal. Absolute is kind of on the rocks right now. Sometimes it's in stock, sometimes it's not. That's actually still one of the easier ones to get. And of course, the original, the Scent, is easy to get and it's very affordable as well. But a few of those flankers there have been a little bit tougher to find. They did release Le Parfum, which is fantastic as well, a little bit of iris, but I think this new magnetic flanker is a fantastic one to check out, and each time I smell it, I love it more. Next up, we have Guerlain, L'Instant Guerlain Eau de Parfum. So they have now changed their bottles again. So before, it didn't look like this. It looked like, I'll just show you because I have it now. So before, it looked like this right here. You guys probably remember this vintage lid. If we can get some focus on this thing, right? Looked like that. There you go. Still not even focusing, but that's okay. It looked like this, you know, right there. And then they switched over to this, and now they've moved over to the L'Homme Ideal style bottles. I don't have a new style bottle yet, but it looks like the L'Homme Ideal bottles. Yeah, that's what it looks like now. So not to be confused, in terms of if they changed the scent, I don't know between those two. This vintage lid, there is actually a little bit of a difference between this and my newer bottle here. Not enough to make it worth going and hunting it down. I'm just weird and I like having old stuff like this, but it's not necessary. So ultimately, buy whichever one you can get for a good price. And right now, it's probably still going to be this one. Now, this has cacao, sandalwood, and actually a little bit of patchouli in here. So very mature, refined, elegant, has a little bit of this chocolatey smell and almost pushing over to the gourmand area a little bit. Really unique. It's distinct. There's nothing else like it, and I love it. You got to have this one. Kind of like Terre de Hermes Eau de Toilette. You got to have a bottle of this one around. It's a classic, you know. This is one that you could wear to work. You could even wear it to school if you wanted to, if you wanted to smell a little bit more mature. But generally, I think this is going to appeal to the, I don't know, 25 and older crowd. I'm not even 25, but I like it. But generally, this is going to be something that is going to offer more of a well put together kind of down to business type of smell overall, and generally guys in high school aren't going to be gravitating towards something like this. You could, but it's not going to be as common. So if you want something more mature and you want something to wear and you're going to be taken seriously because of the scent that you're wearing, this is a perfect one. It's all about that orange and the vetiver. It's woody, it's kind of fruity, but it's a dry fruitiness and kind of this dry earthiness as well. Very masculine, and again, it's a classic. You guys know this, and most of you probably have it, but if you don't, you should. Next up, Gentleman Eau de Parfum Reserve Privé by Givenchy. So not the newest anymore, but it's second newest, right? Now they released Society, but I think this is remarkably better in every way, shape, and form. And actually, in terms of the whole line, I think this is probably the best release to date. So this does have the signature iris accord. There's some cacao in here, kind of this chocolatey smell, whiskey, some chestnut. So a little bit more pushing towards the gourmand direction, more so than the others in the line. A little bit boozy, kind of has a distinct smell to it because of that chestnut accord, which is used in like Replica by the Fireplace, Stronger With You, Intensely, well, maybe not actually Intensely, the original, and Absolutely. And so you kind of are familiar with that. Just gives off this nutty kind of gourmand smell. That's what it has going on in here. Just a fantastic release. It's addicting, it's sexy, it's warming, just amazing. Let's keep it moving with Bottega Veneta Pour Homme, just as the Eau de Toilette, the original here. This really is all about the woods, the cypress, the balsam fir. There's some cedar wood in here. There's even some lavender. So woods and aromatics, basically. And yeah, this is going to be more of your mature, refined, more traditional style of scent. You know, nothing sweet about this one, nothing super playful or modern about this either. It's very much just traditionally masculine, and that's why I like it, because it's kind of a breath of fresh air, because I'm smelling the new releases all the time, and a lot of them are very much following a new style, but this kind of nods back to just a different time period of scents, you know, for men. And I think it's definitely worth having around if you want something more masculine. And in one way or another, you'll kind of stand out when you wear this now, because a lot of what's going to be around you is going to be blues, you know, blue fragrances, the Sauvages, Dylan Blues, Bleu de Chanel's, and or aquatics. And sometimes it's a mixture of those two. And now sweet scents, you know, the 1 million elixirs and things of that nature, the very, very sweet tonka vanilla combo scents. This is going to stand out among all of those in a positive way. And we're going to end this video with kind of something in a similar vein that I was just talking about, where it's going to stand out. L'Homme Eau de Parfum. So it has cognac, some oak, cedar wood, there's bitter orange in here, lavender. So it kind of nods back to the original L'Homme DNA. You can smell it in here. You know, that kind of ginger, lavender, almost kind of apple-y smell off the top, even though there isn't apple in it. Kind of smells that way. You get that, so mature, classy, gentlemanly. But then you get a little bit of a slight splash of a boozy accord. The oak itself is also contributing to that. Some other woods going on, bitter orange off the top. Just a really well done flanker, and a true eau de parfum flanker. You know, it's taking that original DNA, it's building on it, it's making it more intense, more rich, and stronger as well. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 fragrances that you need to have if you consider yourself an expert collector. Again, I will drop links to these down below, but that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.